Morning, everybody. Michelle is here. Michelle is here on Friday, August the 14th, 2026. And I'm out and about, running around, handling my business, and just, thinking about, contemplating, cultivating. I do that all the time. There's always something to think about, something always to do, cultivate, something to make decisions on. And also to be realistic, logical, rational, and reasonable. That's how I conduct myself. I consider the factors that I'm dealt with, and I figure out how to navigate through it, how to work it out so that it serves me and not cause any harm to anybody else. How about that? So I wanted to talk about something that I've talked about a couple of times, several times, many times, however it is. And it's about the artificial intelligence. I know so many people believe that they understand the artificial intelligence and that they are the experts on the artificial intelligence. And everything proves that not to be true at all. As a matter of fact, because of the behaviors and the actions of the so-called experts who believe they understand everything about the internet, about artificial intelligence, we are now entering into a catastrophic, unavoidable, irreversible reality for the majority of us, and especially for our descendants and children. Now, what am I rambling about on this Friday morning? It's about our extremism and our fanatic, how we are so fanatical and extreme, and we always take it further than it has to go. There is no balance, no alignment. We take everything to the extreme. And so what am I rambling about, what I'm talking about? Okay, here's an example. Okay. For example, if you decide, you want to lose weight, that's a very, very, very popular, a popular subject for a lot of people. What if you decided you want to lose weight? Okay. You do your research, hopefully. You consider your options, hopefully. And then you start making the arrangements to lose weight. Okay? Once you have all those factors to consider, you make a decision, hopefully, to lose weight. Okay? So let's just say you made it to you chose a target weight that you wanted. And you chose a target date to reach it. Okay, that's reasonably what a lot of us do. We make these decisions, we set the target, and then we, go about our way to, lose the weight. Some of us, in most cases, do not make it either to the desired weight, or the desired, in the reasonable amount of time. I would say the majority of people do not. So within a relatively short period of time, that particular endeavor is suspended. And so what happens is, even though that particular endeavor has been suspended, we'll ruminate over it, overthink over it, negatively. We'll overthink about this particular effort to lose weight. Okay, we'll justify to ourselves that we need to lose this weight. We'll justify to ourselves that we need to be at this ideal weight. We have to. And so we continue to ruminate. about losing weight. Every waking hour, every moment of our lives is about losing weight, losing weight, losing weight. In the meantime, other areas in your life that you are accountable for and responsible for get neglected. Okay? Or you do not give it the focus that it desires and requires. Because we got to lose this weight. We got to be at this ideal weight. Otherwise, this or that or the other, We continue with this rumination, which is negative rumination about this weight. So some of us, or I should say the majority of us, will allow this rumination to affect how we eat. And because we're ruminating, meaning we're unconscious and we're just constantly thinking negatively about this weight, we're eating more. We're not getting enough sleep. You understand, you see the patterns. And so before you know it, this so-called ideal weight that we were attempting to reach has become out of our control. But yet we continue to talk about it, ruminate, go on and on about it, allow it to affect our relationships, just allow it to interfere with our quality of life. So it just goes on and on and on, rinse and repeat. And so every year, well, for some people, it seems to be coming together more so than a year. It comes together every 3 months. They're setting these goals about losing weight. They never reach them because they're unattainable. They're unrealistic, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. That is the extremism of how we are thinking. We're spending so much time spinning in this ideal, which is unrealistic, downright dangerous attempts to lose weight. And then one day someone comes through with a magic pill. And because you have been ruminating, talking about it, just going on and on about it, you decide, okay, I'm going to take this magic pill. And so you take the magic pill, and within a few months or so, you are losing that weight. That weight is coming off of you, and you're feeling good. You get up and you start announcing it to everybody about all this weight you've lost, and everybody starts complimenting you on how great you look. But within and so you get a little bit complacent because you figure, so many people are under this delusion that if I lose this weight, I lose it forever. It will never ever come back. You know what I mean? Once I lose this weight, it'll never ever come back. I don't have to change the way I eat, change the way I do this or that or the other. That's that delusion as well. I've lost the weight. So people go out and buy clothing to fit this new weight. They'll do other careless behaviors and actions because they believe that this weight loss is forever. And then within a month or so, maybe 3 months at most, they've gained the weight back plus extras. You understand how crazy that is? That is how extreme we are about most of our behaviors and actions. It's not just losing weight. It's about saving money. It's about buying a house. It's about buying a vehicle. A lot of it has to do with materialism. Wanting to lose weight is a materialistic reasoning, in my opinion. You want to fit an ideal weight. You want to fit an ideal reality that is. And I keep telling you, when we look in the mirror at ourselves, we see something differently from what's there. Sometimes we miss the obvious when we look in the mirror at ourselves, or we kind of inspect our bodies and be grotesque about it. So now everybody's getting grotesque about almost the whole physical reality of who they are, what they are, and why they are. In other words, they are seeing this materialistic look that they have of themselves when they look in the mirror. You know, a lot of people call it, you know, we have this delusion that we can change certain biologies of who we are, what we are, why we are. And, you know, a lot of people have. I would say a lot of women of all of all races have done something to their nose. Some people have done something to their teeth. You know, we continue to interfere with the process of our body images or our bodies and that. So I think I made this very clear and effective about how delusional we are and how neglectful we are, how extreme, and most importantly, how dangerous we are. There's a level of acceptance that comes along with being a human being in the true sense. Okay, and it means, you know, you cannot continue to interfere, you cannot continue to invade and believe that you have this power over a certain aspect of who you are, what you are, and why you are, where you can just slice it to bits. You can, but it doesn't evolve the consciousness. It doesn't solve or resolve anything. If anything, it causes it to be more extreme rumination, more extreme behaviors and actions. Another magic pill will come along, and you know, and you start that same process over and over and over again. How is that insanity? Okay, so consider what I just said. Consider if that's what's happening in your life. It's happening in the majority of the lives of all of us. Whereas we are just not accepting the reality of what is. And we're attempting to present these fantasies, these hopes, these beliefs, and they're delusional. And they're causing you so much harm because you're focusing on the material aspects of who you are, what you are, and why you are. So I hope this all makes sense to you. Consider what you're thinking about, why you're thinking about it, why you need to lose some weight. Who's telling you that you need to lose all of this weight? Who are you? What's genuinely going on deep within you to cause you to put yourself through all of this abuse? Because it is abusive to have these unrealistic expectations of who you are, what you are, and why you are. Hope it makes sense to you. Hope you can consider it. Peace and love, and trust me, I will be back.